Welcome back to Dubsy Bricks for another episode of Building Gotham City in Lego. Last week I extended this bottom floor up by about 5 bricks, amended the pillars at the front here, put some details in above the doors there, and also put the windows in the top. Now, somebody did point out last week that I do need to add a beam across the bottom bit there above the pillars, so that's one thing I will be working on at some stage. Whether I'll get around to it this week or not, I'm not sure, but we'll certainly try. And another thing somebody suggested was actually putting a clock on this section just here and having the statue on the roof. And that's what I'm going to be working on here. And as you can see, I put a plate statuette on there. And this is the image I'm going to be working from for my inspiration for the build. But this plate here is just to give me an idea of what it would look like if I did something that tall and that wide with the arms. And I think that is about the size I want to make it. So I'm going to take this back to my table, and now I'm going to try and work out how to build a statue which is going to be fitting on top of the build. And here is our first attempt at doing a statue, and not 100% convinced by this. I was going to go for the whole statue, whereas this is obviously just a torso with the arms both sticking out, but I'm not sure that I want to have both of the arms sticking out like that. I might have one down and one just holding the scales. So I just need to decide how I want that to look. So I'm just going to put this one to one side and then see what we can come up with other design-wise, and then we'll go from there. And here is version 2 of the statue that will be going on top of the courthouse. I'm much happier with this version. I think the scale-wise, it's going to look a lot better than the original one that I made. So this is the way I think I'm going to be going forward with there. Still need to create the head and then work out how I'm going to be attaching the sword and the scales on the other side as well. These two dark bluish grey bricks, they will be changed over to sand green once I manage to get hold of a couple. But all in all, pleased with how it's all coming on. And there is our statue on top of the courthouse, and there is still something about this build which I'm not liking, and I think it's the front view of it. I thought I liked it last week, however, the more I look at it now, the more I'm thinking there is something missing. And what I'm considering doing is changing this front section just here and possibly down the bottom as well. And I've been looking online at Solomon Wayne's courthouse, and I do quite like how that looks. It would mean boxing into the doorways and having just an arch on the bottom. Then at the top you have more pillars, and it's almost like a balcony area here. This section gets moved up, and then you have part of the statue in front of that. The roof section, like I've got these angles here, that would go all the way back, and then you'd have the tower peering out. And this is something I'm considering, just tweaking this build and seeing if I can make it look a little bit like that. So it's a decision I need to make on there, but I do think that I want to make this look a little bit more impressive. And at the moment, I'm just finding this top section just a little bit too boring. I'm not that impressed by the windows here, the fact that you've got the smaller ones in the middle compared to those on the outside. So I'm just going to have a little bit of a think about it and decide which way forward we want to go with. And we have yet more changes to the front of this courthouse, and as you can see, I've used some different bricks on the front here, and I've also put the arches in as well. So the inside of this has changed quite a bit. There are some snot bricks on here where I'll be putting some more details and possibly some lamps hanging down from there, and I do still need to do the door frames on there. These pillars are now have been shrunk by a little bit. The bases here, they're 4 studs wide as opposed to 3. The steps have changed at the bottom here, and I put this beam across here as well, which is something somebody pointed out last week that needed to be on there. Now the back of the building, that hasn't changed at all. It's literally the front section I've amended. This part here was 3 bricks tall. It's now 2 bricks and 2 plates. So I've removed one row of bricks, and put 2 different plates in there, one dark bluish grey and one light bluish grey. Now this courthouse is based off of this image of the Solomon Wayne courthouse, so I'm going to be doing this as a balcony area here. So going to be more pillars going up here. They're not going to be the same as you see in the image on screen here. I've never been happy with this front section here. Originally it was bricked off, then I put the windows in, but now I'm going to put 2 doorways in there and see how that comes out. And yeah, we just take it from there. On the top we'll have the roof, and I want to do the statue on the front there of the Courts of Justice holding the scales there, and then there'll be a clock tower on the very top. But anyway, let's demolish this front wall here, rebuild it, and see how it looks. And here we have the start of the revised front section of the upper floor. I'm putting these modified plates on here at the moment, and I'm going to be putting some of the ingots going up here. Not sure what colour to go in. I have got a load in the dark pearl, which I got off of Bricklink, off of Brickery Do the other day, so I could potentially put some of them up there. I think that might be a nice contrast on the colours on here. I need to order in so many more of these on here just to get all the way up. Obviously there's 5 pillars on here. Now this section here at the moment is too low by 1 brick and 1 plate. However, by the time I've tiled, I might just put a step going up onto that section. I think that might look will look right, basically. And then all I need to do is work out how I'm going to be doing the balcony around here. And then the gargoyles, which are going on the corner. But again, those details, I'm going to need to work out exactly how I want that to look. On the top of these windows here, I'm going to need to do another section, which is probably, I think it's going to work out about 5 bricks high. So I just need to work out what sort of detail I can put on that section as well. But all in all, really happy with how this revised look is looking on the front of this building. Need to build another wall behind this wall, and then the minifigures are going to stand inside these 2 arch areas just there. I put some ingots down at the front here in the light bluish grey. I did try them in dark pearl, however it didn't look right. Having the 3 shades of grey on there just didn't look right, so I ended up putting over to the light bluish grey and much happier with how that has come out. From the top of the pillars there, so they're all ready to go. Just need to get the modified round bricks in to fill the gaps in on there, and once they're going all the way up, I think that's going to look really cool. The top section here, that's all ready now for the statue of the Scales of Justice go on there, and I'm going to be doing it so that it's just the torso, and each arm is going to have 1 scale on there like these I've done just there. So going to break that one up and try and do something that's going to fit on there quite nicely. Once I've done that, I can then work out what angle I need the roof to be at. Then I'll be able to get that section sorted out. And once I've done that, then I'll be able to do the clock tower, which will be the final part of the build. And here we have the revised torso, and I'm really happy with how this one's coming on. I'm going to have it so that it tilts forward very slightly. So all I need to do now is work out how I'm going to be going about doing the head. I was considering using the head off of the previous statue that I had, which was this one just here. And size-wise, I think it's around about right, but it'd be nice to try and get some more details on here and make it look like it's got a hood on. This was supposed to be the blindfold on the statue. However, whether or not I can do something a little bit better than that, I'm not sure. But we'll carry on experimenting with it and see what we can come up with. And there is our revised statue on top of the courthouse. And I do quite like the statue. However, it is, I think, too big. I'm having to use 45-degree slopes there in order to get the roof section to go above the statue, and I don't really want to do that. Ideally, I'll be using the 33-degree slopes, so I will need to make that quite a bit smaller. So I'm just going to have a little bit of an experiment. I'm not going to destroy that one. I'm just going to see what I can come up with, and we'll go from there. And progress is being made, and the statue, I've reduced the torso by 1 stud and a lot happier with the size of it. The arms are way too chunky, so I do need to work on them. I think I need to try and order in some more sand green pieces to give me more variety, and also with the head, it's way too square on the top, so I need to work out how I can go about making that rounder. There are plenty of pieces available that I could use, but it's just a case of getting them in, basically. So that's one thing I will be concentrating on doing in the future, but I can worry about that further down the line. I have managed to get the 33-degree slopes in behind there, so the roof panels will now be able to slide on top of that. But one thing I do want to do is make it so this entire section here is removable with the roof section. At the moment, it's built into this floor, and I don't want it to be that way. So I do need to tweak that. And one other thing I want to amend, and I'm going to do that right away, is this bit here. I want to raise this entire section up here by 1 brick so it's level with the door entrances. That's going to make these pillars a little bit higher, which is one thing I thought was a lot better when I mended the building last time, making those taller. So I think that's all going to look a lot better. So I'm going to make those amendments now, and then once I've done so, I'll be able to start working on the railings that are going around the top of the platform there. And more progress has been made on the front of the building. Much happier of how this is coming along. I've moved the balcony area up now, and it's gone up by 2 bricks. So these pillars are 2 bricks higher. And this floor level here now is 1 plate higher than the inside of that floor. Now the balcony area is separate from this back floor. So that's connected to the bottom part, and then this bit just slides on top of it there. The roof section, I'll be doing the same. So I'll be removing this part and attaching it to the roof. So when I take the roof off, that entire front section will come off with it. Now, really happy with how this balcony area is coming on, and I just need to build a couple of gargoyles to go on the corners there. So I'll probably use the Batman poly bag they bought out a little while ago for inspiration. So I'd quite like the design of that, and I'll see how that looks size wise and looks wise. But as mentioned before, need to order a whole load of these in. The ones I had here, I had to take those off to make these pillars at the bottom that a little bit taller. Now, I was expecting to have had the outside of this build completed by now. However, I keep changing my mind on how I want it to look. Has obviously delayed the finished product on here. But I'm so pleased I have taken the extra time to change it, as I haven't been happy with how I was going previously on here. Really grateful to the people that put comments in the previous videos and mentioned about using Solomon Wayne Courthouse as the inspiration, because that's what this is heavily based on now. And once I've got those finishing touches like the statues in, I hope it comes out well. Obviously, the bottom section is completely different. There's a lot more pillars in the Solomon Wayne one, that image that I showed you earlier. And obviously, it only has one door as opposed to the three that I've done there. So try to merge the two builds, the one I've done previously and that image that I found online. But yeah, there it is. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the update. If you have, please give us a big thumbs up. If you haven't already done so, please consider subscribing to the channel and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any future content on the channel. And if you know anybody else you think would be interested in building Gotham or building Mandalore, if you could share the channel with them, it'd be very much appreciated. Anyway, thanks for popping by, and I'll see you next time. Bye for now.